She was found in the woods. No identification, no memory, and absolutely no explanation. But the fragments she did remember. They would change everything. Before we dive into this chilling account, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Twisted tales like this one deserve to be heard, and you won't want to miss what comes next. It all started on a crisp autumn morning. A hiker, out for a routine trek along the riverbank, stumbled upon a scene that would haunt him for years. A young woman, barefoot, her clothes torn and her skin covered in a latticework of scratches and bruises. She was huddled against an old oak tree, shivering, staring into the distance with vacant eyes. She was silent, utterly silent. The hiker called for help, and soon she was whisked away to the nearest hospital. For hours, she didn't say a word. Doctors and nurses tried to coax a name, a place, anything from her. But she remained a ghost in a hospital gown. Then, just as the evening sun dipped below the horizon, she spoke. Her voice was a raw whisper, barely audible, but her words sent a shiver down everyone's spine. He is still out there. But who was he, and what did she mean? The questions hung in the air, thick and heavy, with no answers in sight. The police had nothing to go on. No missing person reports matched her description. No one in the nearby towns recognized her. She was a complete mystery, a Jane Doe with a terrifying secret locked away in her mind. Over the next few days, her memory began to return, not in a flood, but in jagged, terrifying pieces. Like shards of a broken mirror, each fragment reflected a glimpse of a nightmare. She would wake up, screaming, her hands clutching the sheets, images flashing behind her eyes. A cabin, isolated, deep in the woods. The glint of light on a pair of dark leather gloves. The hollow, metallic click of a locked door. She described escaping through a small, high window, her body aching as she dropped to the ground below. She remembered running for what felt like hours. The forest, a dark, tangled maze. Branches clawing at her skin. The sound of her own frantic heartbeat drumming in her ears. The police took her story seriously at first. They organized a search party, combing the vast expanse of the forest where she was found. They searched for days, using dogs, helicopters, and a grid search pattern, but they found nothing. No cabin, no broken window, not even a single footprint to corroborate her desperate escape. The official report concluded there was no evidence to support her claims. She was a woman with a story, but no proof. The whispers started soon after, in the hospital corridors, in the police station, in the local diners. Some said she'd made the whole thing up, a desperate cry for attention. Others, more sympathetic, suggested it was a manifestation of deep-seated trauma, a fugue state where her mind had created a fictional narrative to cope with some other unknown horror. The doctors leaned towards the latter, diagnosing her with dissociative amnesia. Her story was dismissed as a tragic, but ultimately false, memory. She was alone, trapped not just by her fractured memories, but by the wall of disbelief that was building around her. But she knew. She knew what had happened was real. One afternoon, with a shaking hand, she began to draw. She sketched a map from memory, a crude but detailed diagram of the woods, marking streams, unusual rock formations, and a small, almost invisible path. At the end of that path, she drew a small, crude square. "The cabin," she whispered. She gave it to the lead detective, her eyes pleading. He took it, folded it, and put it in his pocket, a placating gesture for the confused young woman. A week passed. Life in a small town began to return to normal. Jane Doe's story became a piece of local gossip, a curious incident that was already fading. Then the news broke. Another girl had gone missing. A teenager who had vanished while walking home from a friend's house. The town was gripped by a familiar, cold fear. The search began again, but this time it felt different. It felt urgent, desperate. The lead detective, cleaning out his desk, found the folded, hand-drawn map. On a hunch, a long shot, he decided to give it a try. He gave it to the search and rescue team leader. "Follow this," he said. "Let's just rule it out." The team was skeptical, but they followed the strange, hand-drawn path. They navigated past the marked streams and the peculiar rock formations. And then, hidden behind a thicket of overgrown brush, almost swallowed by the forest itself, they found it. A small, dilapidated cabin. It was empty, but it was real. The discovery of the cabin changed everything. She wasn't a liar. She was a survivor. The police now realized the horrifying truth. A predator was using this hidden location, and they had let him slip through their fingers. The full weight of their disbelief came crashing down on them. They had lost a week. Critical, life or death week. The search for the second girl intensified, now focused on the area around the cabin. Every resource was poured into finding her, fueled by a renewed sense of terror and guilt. And then they found her, hidden in a shallow ravine not far from the cabin. She was weak, dehydrated, but alive. After being rescued, in the safety of the hospital, she told her story. A man, a cabin, a locked door, and as the detectives listened, a chilling echo of the past. She whispered the exact same words. "He's still out there." The hunt was on, but this time, everyone believed. If this story moved you, if it made you think, please hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe for more. Some survivors carry scars you can never see, and their stories are the ones that need to be told the most. Every Saturday, we bring you stories that stay with you long after the screen goes dark. Real or unreal, they all leave a mark on you. Make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss what's coming. And trust me, you won't want to miss this Monday's story. She Survived the Impossible, Part 2. We'll see you then.